Hi, I'm CarolVanNatta, science fiction and fantasy author. I hope it's still working because I can't always tell. I know that authoring seems like a very serious business, but I'm really quite silly in person, so I'm sharing this with my fans and readers. This is my third podcast, which I'm doing by Facebook Live if you're watching now. So in the first one, I talked about genres and the difference between space opera and science fiction romance and space fantasy and military SF. And socks. We talked about socks. And in the second one, I talked about future medicine in my Central Galactic Concordance space opera series, and pets in space, and dinosaurs in space. It was a very cute dinosaur. It was part of a prize package that I gave away for my reader, for answering my reader survey. So if you're watching live, some people may, hi Elle, yeah, see, some people are watching live. It's very funny. I'm always amazed. I will try to respond to comments as we go if I see them in time. Sometimes Facebook is a little slow on my machine. So today I'm going to talk about characters in my books. Every week I get email from readers which both astonishes me and delights me. I mean, I know that people buy my books because I get sales reports from booksellers, but it's always a really pleasant surprise when someone is interested enough in my books or my stories to write and tell me they liked them, or ask questions or request future stories. And it's usually about characters. So perhaps someday in the distant future, maybe I'll think of it as just, one of those business things. But right now, every email from a reader for me is just a thrill. So I have 6 books out in my Central Galactic Concordance series. Last ship off of Polaris G. You think I would know this by now. Overload Flux, Minder Rising, Zero Flux, Pico's Crush, and Jumper's Hope. And each book has at least one reader favorite character that I hear about. So in Overload Flux, Merwin Morganther, she's also in Zero Flux, by the way. She's a favorite because she is so very lethal and so very clueless about things that the other characters take for granted. And so I have some innocent amusement with her. Well, maybe it's not so innocent because I'm an author, and no author is totally innocent of this. So in Minder Rising, Rael Leviso, he's a supporting character. He gets the most comments because he's a dancer and he's an exhibitionist and he's a bit of a catalyst, as you'll see if you read my book. Readers of my books seem to be fond of romances, and it's only fair, I am too. So I often get requests for the stories of the secondary characters. Because I like my readers, and because, like I said, I like romances too, I answered that request and gave Yertzi, or Jersey, depending on how you want to pronounce it, Adams. He was a supporting character in Overload Flux. I gave him his own story in Pico's Crush. And from that book, I've also had multiple requests for the story of how his daughter Pico and her love interest Sogère met. And that one is on my assignment list. I do intend to write that story. One reader wrote to me and requested a romance for Sashala Zir. She is the security company president from Overload Flux because he found her so intriguing and thought she deserved happiness and a romance of her own. I might write it after the big damn story arc of my current series finishes, because she knows a lot of secrets, and I don't want to give them away too soon. So if I ever do write that story, oh dear fan reader who wrote me that lovely email, it will be later. So my favorite email from a reader, and this is a favorite of all time, I don't know how you top this. The only paranormal romance that I have written so far is one called In Graves Below. It was part of the Magic New Mexico Kindle Worlds deal that S.E. Smith so kindly invited me to. So In Graves Below, the hero is a Native American shaman, and he's charged with protecting the graves of his ancestors. But he's also a disabled U.S. veteran, and he's missing part of a leg, and he has massive scarring on one side of his body. And he's not pretty to look at. He meets a magical woman who sees past the surface of him and falls in love with who he is inside. And then they go and kick demon ass. But the reader who wrote to me said he's an amputee too, and he thanked me for giving him hope that he can find love. If you talk to any romance reader, I think that you will probably find that it's that hope and optimism in romance that brings them back to the genre again and again. It's why they're such voracious readers, because they love that feeling that the most improbable people, the most downtrodden people, the most unlucky people can still find love and happiness and a future. So, all right, so I'm getting all emotional about that. Let me tell you what I'm working on right now. Well, no, I can't tell you what I'm working on right now because it's a secret. Because I am a cray-cray author person, I'm working on three secret projects all at once. I did mention that I'm crazy, didn't I? So, but in the meantime, my next release will be PetTrade. That's a standalone novella in my Central Galactic Concordance series. I wrote that last year, and it came out as part of the Embrace the Romance Pets in Space 2 anthology. And that anthology has left the galaxy never to return. So PetTrade, on its own, will go on pre-order around the 5th of March, depending on, the vendors, because sometimes, yes, L. Klaus, big damn story arc, because it's a big damn story arc. So it'll be like 9 or 10 books by the time I'm done. So there. Hi, Narelle and Narelle's too. The PetTrade is actually kind of like a little cul-de-sac. It's a little side story in the big damn story arc in the Central Galactic Concordance series. By the way, did I say it's going to come out 20 March? Well, it is. That's the publication date. If you don't want to miss the release, you could pop right on over to my website at author.CarolVanNatta.com and sign up for my monthly newsletter, and then you get noticed that it was coming. And by the way, occasionally I escape the black hole under my house, otherwise known as my basement office, and I do things in public. Not just video, but actually really in public. So next week, I'm going to be a guest author at WhimsyCon in Denver, Colorado. In the United States, it's this Colorado, this kind of square state, kind of in the western mountainy part of the U.S. Anyway, WhimsyCon is a steampunk convention and a costuming convention. And, that's pretty close to space opera, right? Actually, they've invited a variety of authors, including me, and different genres like fantasy and science fiction and comics and all that. And I'll be on some panels, and I'll be leading a session on self-publishing. And I might even be persuaded to sing in the karaoke section, because I do actually sing sometimes. I'm a kind of an alto. I don't have any high range anymore, but I do sing, and can be persuaded, usually with application of alcohol first. And the tickets, by the way, for WhimsyCon are really cheap, well, comparatively for most conventions. So if you're going to be in Denver next weekend, you should totally join us and come to the karaoke bar. I'm assuming they have one, because what convention doesn't have a karaoke bar? And then stop by my table and say hi, or come to one of my sessions and say hi. So that website is WhimsyCon.org. That's WHIMSYCON.org. And if I can manage it from my phone, I'll do a live session just like this from the convention. I don't know if it will work, because technology and me sometimes are not on speaking terms, even though I really love it and I write it and I invent it and things like that for the future. But sometimes today's technology just kind of flummoxes me. So I don't think I have anything else to say right now. I'm seeing, I have more friends. Look at this. This is very exciting. So I have Pauline Bear Jones and Elle Klaus, who loves steampunk, and so do I. And oh my God, if I could wear corsets without feeling like I was in torture devices, and also those heels. I would totally dress up as steampunk, but me and corsets and my festively plumpness just don't really get along terribly well anymore. I don't see that I have any other questions at the moment. What I'll do is, on my website and other things, I'll put those URLs for you so that you can go and visit, my website, where you could sign up for my newsletter, and for WhimsyCon, which will be lots of fun, and I'll try and speak a little better clearly, because you know what I mean. All right, so this is CarolVanNatta, science fiction and fantasy author, signing off, and see you next week, God willing, and the technology works. Okay, bye.